Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the season premiere of The Equalizer. Great season premiere. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So immediately picking up in the aftermath of the season 2 finale, everyone gets on board, and it's this beautiful thing where everyone is pseudo on the same page now, because all aspects of Mel's life collide into one. There's the Dante side of things, which obviously connects to the Mel and Harry side of things, but now they officially all meet. Then Vi and Delilah, well, obviously Delilah met Harry and Mel last season. Specifically, it was like the season finale, I believe. But then you also put that in conjunction with just like every aspect of her life. They'd already been bleeding together for so long, and now they fully bled together in so many different regards. And Delilah is freaking out and worried, understandably. And I think this is going to speak so many volumes for Delilah's character going forward, because she was already like feeling, and she even said, she told Vi that, like, I told Mom I had a bad feeling about things, but she didn't listen. And that's also the thing. Robin was on like a revenge trip. Obviously she has history with Mason Quinn, and also now you add in the fact that he killed Bishop. Now the fact is there's going to be dirty bombs. Like, she had every reason to go after him now. Well, even more so reasons now. And now it's like, right, because of the decision she made to go after Quinn, it put her, not only her in his crosshairs, but also like her entire family. In fact, he moved up his timetable because he got her. Like, I don't know whether he always planned like to make her the fall person, or whether it was just like the opportunity presented itself. It's like, okay, she's coming after me. Let me use this to my advantage. But like I said, all hands are on deck, because Dante sees the picture of Robin and is like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, wow, you're her daughter. I see what this is. And now it's like, right, because Robin still kind of kept some stuff separate from him, but now Dante's kind of involved in all the aspects of her life. Like, once again, he met Harry and Mel, so he knows about that side. He's met the squad, he's met the team, plus now he's met her family. It's like, right, you know about me and my sons, now I know about you and your daughter, so I think that's going to end up bringing them even closer. I also love that this episode does this episode kind of showcases like, oh yeah, the dangers of deep fake technology. And that was always kind of like when deep fake technology was even first being birthed. Obviously it was still like, it was wonky, but we're getting better and better deep fake technology. And that is the scary thing, that like eventually it will be completely in its distinguishable. I think it can be, like, if you get someone good who's very tech savvy, you get the right programming, you can make it indistinguishable. Obviously it's not like 100% proof, but I guess that also depends on who does it, the CGI behind it and stuff like that. But regardless, because at first I was like, oh, you didn't make Robin say that, it's a deep fake. I was like, that's a pretty good one. And once again, making your mortal enemy be the one that's kind of responsible for everything. It's kind of, it rubs salt in the wound that it's Mason Quinn that's making this whole thing happen. So it hits Robin even deeper. And his reasoning for it's just kind of like, no, I want to be one of the powerhouses in the world. Like, he's like, making it seem like, America needs to be put in its place, because that's why he got some other people who are radicalized around him are about this, because they're thinking like, this is about making America suffer. It's like, yeah, they have their own issues, because America's been this powerhouse in the power vacuum, not the power vacuum, but the power structure of the world, that they're like, no, we want to go along with Quinn, because yeah, he can do whatever he wants, but we're going to, make America pay. But at the same time, it's like, he doesn't care. He's just basically going to make he wants to show, how powerful he is, because in every other country is going to basically have to bow down to him, or unless they want to make an enemy of him. So he wants to put his name in that ranking of being a powerful person. So it's like just 100% ego, maniacal supervillain status is kind of just what he's pulling this episode. Also, what was his dude's name, Delgado, when Melanie was... her name's not Melanie, it's Melody, isn't it? Mel's full name. Either way, Mel was like interrogating him. The whole aspect of, she's like, right, you see what happened to his other right hands. You think you're going to be any different? Mel was trying to tell him, but even I was like, yeah, you idiot. You already spilled the beans. You've already proven to Quinn that you got loose lips. You are going to die. You didn't even make it pasture scene. I was like, okay, like maybe he'd eventually, like, they're trying to pump him for information. They move him. Quinn had him popped. It's like, nope. Quinn had you killed then and there because of your cigarette ended up being laced and you ended up dying. So then you had the whole complicated thing. Well, once again, if everything going on, the CIA is like, we can't really tell the public because that's going to panic more and that's going to cause mass hysteria and that's going to make things worse. It's like, it's about trying to save as many lives as possible, but it's like telling people about it is just going to make people panic more. And like, you know, that's going to cause the casualty rate to rise even more. So it's like, this Carter and them are going to be ground level, having to like handle everything to try and stop this from happening. They have to be the ones to do this. So Mel and Harry are playing a role in that along with Dante, because while they're searching for Robin, they find out the timetable got moved up to today. It wasn't even like, oh, you had a week now. It's like, no. You've got some point today. No, there is no tomorrow. So it's some point today that this is all going to go down. So. And like I said, circling back to the Vi and Delilah stuff, like I said, I think this is a really interesting setup for this season, specifically with Delilah continuing like a lot of her concerns last episode. But this episode in particular is like, the fact is, Mom does what she always does, and I've always been worried about it, but Mom got kidnapped. Because now it shows, like, once again, her mom, like, at the very least, she could at least be like, all right, no one can stop Mom. Mom's, like, top class. No one's got her. For her to get blindsided like that and kidnapped, it's like, right, your mom's mortal just like everyone else. And she was already kind of feeling that last season. This just expedited that feeling even more, and you know, that concern. And so for her, it's like, right, like what's going to happen to Mom? Like everyone else is saying like, oh, she's going to be fine. She's good at what but it's like, no, if she was really good at what she did, like none of this would happen. She's, you know, once again, that the Bishop situation is what really jump started. It's like, if that happened to Bishop, you know, and he's like, you know, he's the one that's kind of an old time friend of Mom. He's kind of like a mentor. Like for him to get got, what does that mean for Mom? Like even she's not safe. So that's what really got those wheels turning for Delilah. You know what I mean? And especially at such a young age, she's been had so many had, you know, the whole Jason thing. Experiencing something like that at such a young age is going to like instill some PTSD in you, and you're like, right, it makes you very aware of mortality, that like at any point in time something can go wrong. Like you were just living your lives and Jason got killed. The fact is your mom is leaping into danger on a regular basis, so of course her chances of dying are expediting as well. And so like Delilah has every right to freak out. But when it came time to like, hey, we have to leave, Mel said, like, told him about the bomb and we have to bounce. The problem is, Delilah didn't want to go. She's like, right, we can't leave everyone behind. What about my friends? What about Trish? What about Dad? Like, we can't just, like, abandon people. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere without Mom. Which is honorable, but also it's like, yeah, she's like, you know, Delilah gets her stubbornness from, like, it's just a stubbornness that runs in their family. She gets it from her mom, her dad, her aunt. Like it's in the McCall blood. Well, not even just in the McCall blood because of her dad, but still, like it's still there regardless. And Delilah wouldn't listen, but it's like, there is a part of me that's like, yes, she's being stubborn, but you gotta admit, like, the fact is that she's like, right, we gotta do something. Like, we can't just like, we can run to safety while everyone else is in danger. It's like, that's a no-go. That's a non-starter for her. And it's like, it's understandable. It's honorable. Like, the fact is, you raise a kid with, you know, that she has good morals. She has a good head on her shoulders, because she's like, why should we be the one? Because we're privileged to have these connections of our Robins that let us know what's going on, and everyone else is living their life not knowing what's going down. And it's like, we're going to leave them to die? Like, how effed up is that? Like, so once again, for the sake of the story, you're just kind of like, Delilah, stop being stubborn and do what you're told. But at the same time, you're like, but where she's coming from totally makes sense. And the fact is that Vi called her dad in, made him kind of the trump card. You're like, ooh, this is going to make things worse, regardless of what it is. Oh, it's a dirty bomb and all that. It's like, doesn't matter. It's like, yes, Robin helped save the city eventually. Doesn't matter, because the fact of the matter is, what was already an issue last season with Miles is going to be, I keep using the word, expedited even more this season. What was the last word he said? What's his last line in this episode? In fact, was the last line of the episode, this is far from over. So, this is going to give him the ammunition he needs to try and get Delilah, like, probably sole custody. He can't explain everything, but he'll probably put Robin in a situation where he's like, I mean, because it's kind of a double-edged sword. He can't talk about all the stuff that Robin's doing that potentially will endanger Delilah, but he's also putting her in a position where she is going to be in a situation where she's going to have to defend herself, where she's going to have to probably, like, she would have to admit to what she's doing, and she can't, because what she does helps so many people. But as Delilah says, it's like, right, I want her to, for once, like, stop putting other people above herself and just start, you know, being selfish and taking care of herself, like putting her needs before anyone else's. And as in, like, she wants Robin to put herself first, you know, so that you can come home and be okay. And it's like, that's really going to be an issue for Delilah this season. Once again, it's something that's been bubbling beneath the surface, and this situation just made it pop. Because the title of this episode is Boom, so for a lack of a better term, there is going to be so much. This episode in particular sets up so much fallout for the rest of the season. Just good circumstances. Like I said, the whole squad, you know, we even got that shot at the end where all four of them, Robin, Dante, Harry, and Mel, are like walking away together. Like there's that. Like the team is complete. Like everyone's in the know. But at the same time, you know, there's all the stuff on the family side of things. But jumping ahead a little bit, that luckily, well, first and foremost, speaking of Dante, let's circle back to this. The fact is he's willing to go so far. Like, Dante, that experience last season changed Dante. For the better, we'll have to wait and see, but the fact is he's willing, he was so straight and narrow, because he was always like, right, like, but obviously, like, that line blurred so much when it came to Robin already, and as time is going on, it's blurred even more, but it's extremely shaded to an even darker degree now because of his experience. He's like, right, you're thinking because I'm a cop, I'm gonna have to do things the right way, but this woman, she's important to me, more important than my badge right now. So it is that situation of, it's understandable why he kind of crossed the line for Robin. And Dante previously would have been like, yeah, the fact is I was willing to cross the line for you like that. Probably not a good thing, but like threatening to, I mean, would he have actually done it? No, I think that kind of separates him from his dad, but it is a situation of like, that is still inside of him. And once again, that experience has changed him. So he won't necessarily approach things the same way he did, like, what was that, like 2/3 throughout season, I'd say about, roughly speaking, about 2/3 through season 2, is because I think it was like, DWB was the episode. I believe that was episode 13. So good chunk away through season 2, like everything going, and everything from episode 13 all the way to the beginning of the series. Like his approach is definitely going to be different this season, and that's interesting. But what was that whole thing? I think he was like, oh, I thought you were supposed to be the man. And Harry's like, oh, I'm going to take that as just, I'm not going to take offense to that. I'm just going to take it as like, okay, we're all stressed out right now. But he's like, don't be surprised if you end up getting like a monthly subscription to like some exotic animals magazine or something like that. So, and once again, definitely felt my like person of interest vibes when Harry's on comms and Mel and Dante are going through that building, and he's like giving you the heads up. It's very much almost like it specifically reminded me of Root, you know, especially like her connection to the machine. The machine became the voice in her head. Like it very similarly kind of gave me, you know, obviously like Harry's always had man in chair vibes. Obviously, that's always been his shtick. You know, the computer guy, as Dante just kind of like sums him up as. So. But the thing that did take me by surprise was the Quinn thing. Because at first I was like, okay, are you going to, like, I thought Robin's going to be in a position to kill him. But then, like, she was like, all right, like I thought Carter would show up in time to stop her. Like, no, she made a decision like, right, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to give you that. I want you locked up, and I want you to pay for what you've done. But she also knew, like, no, you're going to mess up. She probably was like, oh, I want to put you in a position where you can try and kill me. Just give me an excuse to kill you, which she did. And at first I was like, oh, do you think he's going to fake his death? And I was like, no, Oh, he definitely caught those bullets, and because he was wearing a bulletproof vest before, but it's also like even if the bullets hadn't been like absorbed by the bulletproof vest, that splat on the pavement, they ain't no helping that. So it's all resolved now. But based on what Mason Quinn said, he was like, oh, like the fact that you want to hold the people close to you very close, that it's like, oh, everything was resolved. But this is where I'm saying, like, I think there still could be potential fallout. Because once again, I thought he was going to continue to be a major villain throughout this season. It's like, nope, taken out at the beginning of the season. But that might be because he probably has contingency plans activated the moment of his death. So he was kind of fine with it either way. He's just like, he probably was going to go like, okay, I'm going to try and kill you, Robin, but even if you kill me in the process, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be the one laughing in the end. He probably still has people out there still, like, you know, that the major overarching villain this season could still be someone connected to Quinn. I don't know. The major fallout might just be, once again, her family circumstances. Well, I think that's going to be a big major storyline this season. And then especially in conjunction with what she does and, you know, how Delilah feels all about that. And Delilah's not going to be happy with Vi about calling in Miles. And now it puts Delilah in this complicated position because now it's like, right, it's not even like she has to lie anymore. But Miles is going to use that against her. It's like, oh, you've also got our daughter covering and lying for you. But now Miles is like, right. Because Robin was like, I know you have questions. And he's like, I do, but now it's not the right time. But once again, this isn't over. It's far from over. So we'll see. But I feel like Quinn is the type of person to have contingency plans. So I definitely can see the fallout continue there. Would not be. I don't know if they've used the word title fallout for any episode so far. I'd have to go back through the episode list. But if they have, I could definitely see that being an episode this season if there hasn't already been one. But I feel like there probably has been. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Either way. Something else I'm also curious about, and this was because they introduced Carter last season, I was like, oh, is he kind of filling that Bishop role? And since we brought him back granted, he could disappear because of the whole Mason Quinn thing being done, but there is a good chance that they keep him, that he ends up being that he fills that void going forward, which I kind of was like, oh, when he was introduced, I was like, oh, please tell me he's going to fill that void. Because at first when he was introduced, I was like nervous. I was like, are you really the good? Are you? But it's like, no, you seem trustworthy enough. So, like I said, I get the feeling they're filling that Bishop role to some extent. So we'll see where things kind of go from here. But kind of a very explosive start to this season. And like I said, I'm so excited to see how this all trickles out and plays out over the course of the season. I don't even know if I don't remember if there actually was a full-blown trailer. I think there was one that I linked to in the watch list. Whatever it was, probably would have only covered maybe there's like a full-blown seasonal trailer, but like, I'm assuming whatever trailer is out there is just, I think the only thing I found was like a promo, and whatever it was probably just from this first episode alone, so I don't want to know how the rest of the season plays out. That's just my thing of like, I'm just, theorizing because like I have no idea what to fully expect from the season, and I don't want to know. Once again, just a rhetorical thing, but I'm excited to see what ends up being the aftermath of all of this on so many levels for Robin. So, like I said, especially now that so much of her life is blurred together, the lines of separating all that is no longer there. Those walls have kind of been broken down now, so like I said, it's basically like 3 separate lives that she has connected. Because yes, the Harry and Mel and Dante stuff is connected, but those were still separated. Now those barriers are going too. So all 3 of her lives and stuff are kind of melding together. So that's going to be really, really interesting. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.